Good morning. Well, I guess technically it's good afternoon now, but whatever. I have just been itching to get some things going, get some things moving in my world. I am learning the more I work for someone else, the more I want to work for myself. And never been camera shy, especially when, I'm talking about something I know and I love. And so taking a tip from Molly's Artistry, I'm not sure how long ago she posted her video where she showed around her studio and where she came from and how far she's been over the years, and I can attest to that. I started paint pouring 2020. Prior to that, it was while I was in college. Since we moved to this house, so I don't know, 4 years. But I took a hiatus. My husband and I had done a couple craft shows. He does the fused art and the stained glass art. And him and I had done a couple shows, me with my paint pouring and, making the little cabochon jewelry and key rings and, just all kinds of crazy stuff. Between the glass and the paint, him and I went nuts. And we had probably 3 or 4 shows lined up and paid for, all ready to go for 2020. And then what happened. So, I don't know if it was just the kind of funk of what was going on in the world, and me, trying to transition out of being a full-time student and part-time worker into like trying to, suddenly become this new me who's graduated with my degree and all that. And, just the funk with what was going on in the world at that moment, it deflated me. It totally deflated me. And my husband too. And our craft room kind of turned into a catch-all, store-all. And honestly, it's just been in the past 6 months that we've really started getting back down here again. And so, I watched a lot of Gina DeLuca in the beginning and Molly's Artistry when it looked like she was like painting in a warehouse somewhere. And then all of a sudden, I flip back on YouTube years later and, Rinsky's got this beautiful setup behind her, and so does Molly's Artistry, and Gina's getting ready to move, and I'm not some crazy stalker, I promise. It just, part of me was really jealous, that I had started recording videos back in the day and just really hadn't done much with publishing, and I was gonna get there sometime and dragging my toes, and when 2020 hit, it just kind of deflated my world, I hate to say. I was none too bright in my former lifetime, years ago when I was younger and dumber than I am still. And so the first time I went to college, I look back and it was really an excuse to get out of my hometown. Mom had helped that way. But I didn't put any effort or anything into my college. And so when I add, a 4-year, 5-year, long time associate's degree on top of that, where I was, basically living using my student loans, all the things they tell you you're not supposed to do, $45,000 associate's degree later. I'm like, oh my God. And again, as I continue to work for someone else, I'm like, what I would give to be able to work for myself. And so, long way of going about it. Here one night, I guess it was last week, I was kicking back, working on some estate sale signs for a girlfriend of mine, and kind of had Molly's Artistry going on YouTube on the TV up above, and she was talking to me. She was like, this is where I came up from, and, showing the little tricks of her studio, like this isn't all Mac Daddy professional studio, and she's got a camcorder up on a tripod on a ladder, and I was like, that's really awesome. Just to be able to break out that vulnerable and, show the tips and tricks. But she was really talking to me. She's just like, it doesn't matter where you are. Just get started. And if you can connect with people and they like what you're doing, don't worry about it. And so here I am, pulling the plug of half-assed, my space is a mess, but I thought I would sit here and kind of show. I've had some really cool ideas here lately, and, I'm trying to clean up projects, finish up projects, and just ready to pull the plug and just throw myself out there and see what happens. I love a lot of different things, and passionate about a lot of different things. And I figure if I just start kind of throwing myself out there with my painting and my crafting, we'll see how things fall together. You either evolve or you die, grow or go. And, I thought that getting down and getting for real with YouTube would be a good way for me to just throw my foot in the water and see what happens. So, anywho, I'm going to shut up. I've been playing with resin. Y'all ruined me. When I first came back from my little hiatus and started, everyone's playing with resin. And I was like, I'm not going to do it. Andre, you're not going to do it. You've got enough habits already. You don't need to add a new one to the collection. And look what I went off and did. This piece has been quite a story. Actually, it's got a resin frame now. But I think it's beautiful. Anyway, I just thought I'd show it real quick. This is a Galaxy paint pour. And then what I did, it's kind of hard to, well, you can catch a little glimmer of it in here. But what I did was I then took a few different color, I don't know if it's mica pigments or, oh, it's actually glitter, from Michaels. And so I took a few different colors in little mini cups of resin, and I did a Galaxy pour in resin on top of it. And so I think it turned out really sharp. You almost got like a little Milky Way thing going on in front of the original. Very pretty piece. But then I'd messed up the back because I didn't prep it well with tape before I started resining. I really screwed up the back. So then I started prettying up the back, and now I'm like ready just to turn it into a whole resin piece. But I need to stop. Logistically, I couldn't fill this with resin and make it a two-sided piece because adding resin to this side would then, I think, kind of reactivate the resin on this side. And I think I would destroy this when this got hot, if that makes sense. But what I did was, because I'd screwed up the canvas so bad underneath, is I put Scotch tape around it and I poured just black resin over that. And it's actually kind of cool. You can see where the tape was. I wish I would have paid a little more, mind to doing a crisp straight line all the way across. But I think that actually looks really cool now. And so this is kind of sharp here. I don't know if you can really tell. Yeah, kind of on the edges there, because it's a little taller on the sides than it is in the middle. And so I need to see about like sanding that down you know, putting a little angle edge on it so that way it's not so sharp. But then I think I'm deeming this one done. My fingerprints and all. It's actually really pretty when it doesn't have my handprints all over it. So yeah, that's, you know, one thing. Got a little of that kind of pinkish over here. And then this is like Milky Way-ish. And then this is kind of a blue-purple. Those are chameleon glitters. So, anywho. One of my favorite things that I've kind of pulled out of my tush here lately was I was watching Guy. It's a guy. And I'm totally, it's like right there. I can't think of his name offhand. I'll link it. Was showing one day how when he gets chunkies in his paints, what he does is he runs it through a pantyhose. And so I've got a couple videos I've already posted if you're interested at all. Pantyhose paint pouring. Cool beans. I mean, this just leaves some, let's see how we can do this. Some really cool designs in the paint. And I'm trying to see, there we go. You know, how you get this. And, you know, you just get some very defined colors when pouring through a pantyhose. Now, all of these, I believe, was an open cup on the thing. And then I put the pantyhose on it and I ran the paint through that way. Well, I have got all these old little cups of metallics, and these are paints that I had mixed using Gina DeLuca recipe back before I stopped pouring. And so I've got all these little like odds and ends and bits and pieces of different paints and, you know, my original, and it's like, man, I gotta clean this stuff up or I gotta downsize. You know, see if it can be used, recycle it. If not, it need to go. And so I'm running, you know, I sat down last night and it's really weird how these are all the Artist Lofts metallics out of the little squeezy tubes. How some of them are really, really nice and pretty still when I kind of whipped them back up. And like there were a couple of them, they were really like chunky, goopy. I don't know, it's weird. But, you know, how can the same brand of paint, you know, just different colors, they were all mixed the same way. It was all 2 to 1. So 1 part paint, 2 parts Floetrol, and then brought to the perfect consistency. So 90% Floetrol, 10% water. Thank you, Gina. 10% Floetrol, 90% water. So I'm going to have to drop y'all's links to some of this in this if anyone actually makes it through my rambling. But so what I'm doing is I'm cleaning up all my paints and running it into a cup. And I'm really excited to see what this does. Let's see if you can see it. Oh, right now it looks like I should probably stop like jolting the cup around so much. I was upstairs last night. I've started kind of working at like boxes. Like this one's been used for a resin a few times. But you know, I've got a few different size boxes. I picked these up from our local grocery store. You know, they're little TY stuffy displays. But, you know, that's perfect just to catch your paint. And that way, you know, I can work upstairs on the island if I want while we're watching TV. Or I can work down here, or I can do a painting and take it somewhere else to dry and still have kind of my space. So I don't know. I'm finding my groove, I guess. But, yeah. So I'm kind of curious, like, how some of y'all who have actually kept with us this whole time, how you handle some stuff, like recycling. Oh my God. And I sound more and more like my mother every day. It scares me. And I love her. That sounded bad. But, you know, the older I get, the more I realize, you know, what we're doing to our planet. And this kind of is, I hate to say, a wasteful hobby. God, we generate a lot of plastic. You know, what do you do with your tubes? You know, I got a couple that, you know, I mixed into my big, oh, they're over there, squeezy bottles that are mixed. But, you know, I put a little Floetrol and water in here. And, I mean, do these things recycle? If you manage to get them clean? Will liquid text? Like, I don't know. I'm curious about this stuff. I know that a lot of recycling depends on your local facilities. And so I would really like to kind of get in touch with our local recycling, because we've got one of those catch-all bins. I'm not sure if it's our county or just our town. But, you know, you get a recycle bin brought out when you get your trash bin brought out. And you can throw everything in it. Now, they don't take the plastic grocery bags like your Dillon Sacks or whatever, dollar store. They don't take these in the recycle bin or styrofoam. But it looks like it takes like the basics and plastic and whatnot, as long as it's relatively clean, or it is clean. So, but, you know, like the plastic that comes on our canvases, you know, can this be recycled? Does anyone know? What do you do with it? Everything is like plastic wrapped or come in plastic, or I don't know. Probably worry too much. But I figure if I can worry, you know, enough for my house, that maybe it'll put enough of a dent in the future to get my kid or grandkids or whatever, you know, an extra breath of oxygen in the future. My husband was just reading an article. He was saying that, you know, not only are they finding microplastics in the human body now, but that it's actually in our bloodstream. And there's no way to filter that out of your bloodstream, you know. That's scary. It's kind of creepy. But anyway, I kind of went on a tangent there. If you've made it this long, then my hat's off to you. Oh, yeah. I can kind of run around in circles sometimes. So I'm thinking that I want to put a little white on top of that orange. Before I drop another color on it. Because while the pantyhose paint pouring is really pretty, I think you could probably still get some mud. So, anywho, I don't know. I just thought I would sit here and yak for a second and getting ready for my, oops, I'm late for my meeting. I better get that pulled up and say bye for now. But here, I'll show you another fun piece. This was something that my husband printed. We have an inkjet printer, kind of on a glossy type paper, and then he immediately slapped it on the wood, and so that's where the image came from. And then I did a resin coat on it. And there's our business cards that I designed a while back ago. But yeah, I don't know. Just finally starting to get some of these, you know, like finishing touches put on some pieces and get them ready to sell. you know, get them ready to actually go out the door. I've got so many different layers or levels of not quite complete, you know, that if somebody bought something today, I'd be like, oh, I need to sand down the edges real quick, or I need to sign it, or, you know, I just think it's time to do some of that OCD kind of cleaning up, and prepping, and that way, you know, if the ground starts moving, I can hit it running. So anyway, I hope this finds y'all doing well. I hope you have a beautiful and blessed day.